CBS News 24/7 cameras and crews are trained on a courtroom in New York City where we are listening to testimony by somebody who goes by the pseudonym Jane, testifying against Sean Diddy Combs in his sex trafficking and racketeering trial. So as a reminder, Combs pled not guilty to all 5 federal charges, but if convicted, he could face life in prison. So a lot at stake for this shamed entertainer. Let's bring in CBS News correspondent Jericka Duncan. Always great to have you, Jericka. You're outside the courthouse right now, but you've been inside quite a bit as well. What have you heard today, my friend?
So much that we heard today, starting with that testimony from Jane back on the stand and more details about the relationship that the two had. The defense, Tenny Geragos, starting off by establishing the fact that Jane met with prosecutors over 20 times since the beginning of the year, and also just saying that she was under no pressure to make any specific comments as it pertains to Combs, because we learned yesterday that Combs is paying for her attorneys right now. But they got into their lifestyle more and more. We know that Combs allegedly enjoyed watching his girlfriends, Cassie Ventura, and in this case, Jane, have sex with other men. But we learned more details today just about some of the things that were happening. For example, Tenny Geragos asked Jane, "Do you still love him?" And she said, "I do." She talked about how they used to cuddle together and watch TV. Her favorite show, or their favorite show, she said, was Dateline. So that they watched a lot of television. She said that even in terms of the fetish that she described, she did research on it because she was trying to better understand what it was about Combs that enjoyed watching her have sex with other men. And she said she came up with this term called cuck, and, even brought it to him. So you're seeing that the defense is laying out really sort of this timeline of events that show she was a willing participant, that she was getting financial help, that Combs was paying for her house, that she even at one point was able to get up to $50,000, she said, on Instagram by posting brands, and was also receiving $4,700 in child support, according to Jane.
What's the end game, do you think, from the defense as they look at all of this testimony? How are they going to use what is said to try to get their client off?
I think it's once again about the credibility of the witness, and also trying to prove that she was not forced into this or coerced into some of this behavior. In fact, there was a moment when Geragos asked her about taking an ecstasy pill, and she said that she felt as though Combs expected her to take it. And then Tenny Geragos says, "And by the way, how old were you when this relationship started?" And she said 35. So you're seeing sort of the makings of building up to this person had some of the control as well. There was a moment just as we were wrapping up for break where she outlines 3 partners that Combs sent home because she didn't like them. She didn't like the way they smelled, or there was no connection. So again, sort of these drips of this wasn't as forced as, she says that these acts were when you listen to just her testimony yesterday with the prosecution.
Jericka Duncan, thank you so much for the updates that we obviously have to filter for our national audience. We appreciate you always doing that so masterfully.
It's tough.
It is tough. And we can't talk
Absolutely.
about our assignments when we do this story, when we go home to our kids. I know you know what I'm talking about there.
No, it's absolutely got to be very careful when it comes to this sensitive topic.
Yeah, okay, and you're doing a great job, Jericka. Thank you so much. All right.